Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. Before I even start this video, there's an affiliate link on the bottom of this page. This is how you can support this channel. It'll take you to Humble Bundle. It's tenkars-tavern.game/paranoia. It's the Paranoia 25th Anniversary Edition. A lot of good stuff in it. What I consider to be a lot of good reading material because, my God, I love running Precision Paranoia, and they've updated a couple of the adventures for Paranoia 25th edition, and we don't have to dig out my originals like the Yellow Clearance, Black Box Blues, and Hill Sector Blues, which I actually play tested. So, why do I have Luke Gygax up on the screen? Well, Professor DM just put up a video earlier today, actually, with Luke Gygax and I guess Alphinius Gooey Cube. There's a new Gygax product, adventure setting coming out through Gooey Cube. But Luke is talking about, D&D. They played a lot of AD&D 1E, him and his father, the home group. That was the rules that Gary played under, but he didn't use them all. And what was popular, though not official, was certainly critical hits. And we still see that today, right? And people love their critical hits. Well, I'm going to let Luke explain why their group with Gary didn't use critical hits. And then I'm going to, I guess, give a further explanation as to why I don't. It's pretty similar, but I actually, I might even go farther in my dislike of critical hits. But here's Luke.
He didn't use critical hits. He found, if you used critical hits, I think what we found is the advantage goes to the dungeon master, because oftentimes they're rolling more dice than the players are. If you have a horde of kobolds coming at you, you may think, great, it's a bunch of kobolds. Uh-oh, as a DM, I got lucky. I rolled a couple 20s. I go to a critical hit table, and suddenly, something awful has happened. You've lost a limb or whatever the case may be.
Listen, a lot of the modern critical hits aren't even like the Rollmaster critical hits, or Chart Master, as we used to jokingly call it. Usually it's like, oh, it's double damage, or it's max damage, or it's whatever. But here's the deal, okay? NPCs and monsters are generally one and done. They are meant to be fought through. So if they take a critical, and if you're using criticals with hit location and lopped off limbs and other random shite, sure, it's exciting for the player. It's like, oh, I lopped off that orc's head, but you would have killed him anyway. It was an orc. But that orc has the same chance of doing a critical on you as that giant does. Now, that giant is certainly more of a threat, right? But if that orc, who can only, maybe they can only hit you on a 20, hits you with a critical hit, now it's double damage or it's max damage. It's more of an effect against the player. Critical hits always are more detrimental against the players. Fumbles, usually a fumble, mostly into a fumble. Oh, you lose your next attack. Well, if 1 out of 7 goblins loses their next attack, that's all right. But if your PC loses their next attack, that can be game changing. All right. So critical hits and fumbles don't generally take into account the level difference between, or the hit dice difference between the two parties. I personally find, and I'll play in games where the DM has critical hits. It's the DM's game. I don't generally play with critical hits. Okay. I generally feel that critical hits in the long run, and in the short run, impact the players more detrimentally than they actually help them. Right? A critical hit, like if you're playing JoJo the Fighter and you've got 30 hit points and you get hit, and normally that hit would probably do D8 damage, and you're looking at 4.5 points, 4 or 5. But no, it was a critical hit. Now you just took 10, or potentially if you're doing double damage, right? 16 points of damage. Well, your fighter now has to go on to that next encounter with less hit points, whereas again, the monsters you're fighting are generally dying by what the multitudes. I mean, if you ever sat down and looked at your average murder hobo adventure, especially from days gone by, the number of potential kills by the PCs is usually, I don't know, maybe 10, 20 to 1. So think of those odds. That means that there are 10 to 20 times the chances for your PC to get a critical hit on them throughout the adventure, right? Not per encounter. For the PCs, the damage, especially if you are going with damage like Rollmaster damage, where you could take a shot to a limb. Well, that damage is going to carry over to the next encounter. It could carry over for multiple encounters, multiple adventures. It could carry on for the whole campaign, where the monsters again are one and done. So that's just something to think about before you put criticals into the campaign. They can't think of it. D&D, as it was written, was balanced to not have critical encounters. If you do bring them into your game, just realize what the balance factor is. You're balancing it against the players. I know they won't even see that. It's a sleight of hand, I guess you could say, but it's certainly true. So listen, I'm going to leave a link to Professor DM's video in the show notes, and there's a pinned comment. Go watch it. The professor does some really great videos, and he's a friend of the show. So, or friend of the channel, I should say. So, other than that, feels good to be. TotalCon was great. It rejuvenated my batteries, but it feels good to be home in front of my desktop doing these videos. All right, folks. On that note, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. We'll be back again tomorrow with another video. Wednesday night to live stream. I'm not sure if there's a special guest or not. Yeah, maybe. We always have a reason to find a special guest. Friday night should be Glenn Hallstrom at 8 p.m. Another live stream. And of course, Saturday, figure we're going to have Rich and I a little bit of a TotalCon recap in addition to our normal Gamers Health stuff. So, lively stuff happening on this channel. And again, this channel's success is due to you, the viewer, the listener, your feedback, your tips. So thank you very much. God bless. Later.